What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check it out, man. See, we got two rappers on there, and this joint only 9 minutes long. I'm gonna play one of the cuts from my album, man. Don't forget, I'm on my way up to Delaware to see these Dr. Umar buildings. So I'm gonna keep promoting that. But hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Check out Uncle Mike's talent. Tell me what y'all think, man.
See, I don't pray for what you think I would. Not for money.
We need to pray.
Not for cars. Not even for my own hood. I just close my eyes and I pray. I pray that Sunday don't say the most fake day of the week. That we live what we preach when we rise to our feet.
I pray one day
we don't see color in the face. Only one race, one love, the human race. I pray for peace, not power. For unity that don't fold in the dark hour. I pray for the child with no voice, no meal. That one day he eats and knows how love feels. I pray success finds the ones that grind quiet. Who didn't sell a soul, this it go viral. I pray we remember his grace when we fall. That God still answers when we don't call. I pray for you, yeah. You're scrolling on your phone, feeling broken, feeling left all alone. I pray your health stays strong, your path stays clear, and blessings fall on you like tears. But I want you to know that's what I don't say in these lines. I never pray for money, and I never pray for myself. I never even pray for the ones closest to me. Not cause I don't love them, but because good love don't bend. It believes faithfully. Just some things I pray for.
I need to get up and exercise a little bit, y'all. Let's exercise, hey.
I pray for the mothers with tears in their eyes, holding it down, but dying inside. I pray for the father who left too soon and the child he made trying to fill that room. I pray for the teacher who's spinning their own, trying to give hope cause the system is blown. I pray for the ones who got talent but no light, for the ones that write verses just to make it through the night. I pray we break generational chains, stop passing down drama like it's part of our name. I pray our hearts don't stay numb from the pain, and one day we dance in the middle of the rain. I pray for the silence behind fake smiles, for the strong ones breaking out the holding in a while. I pray for the ones that feel too far gone, that God still reaching when the devil gets strong. I pray for the kids locked up in the system, no love, no hugs, just the world that miss them. And I pray for the soldier with scars on his mind, he made it back home but left peace behind. I pray for the ones who scream but ain't heard, who feel invisible when they speak a word. I pray you feel seen, I pray you feel true. I pray that these words can help you. But what I mostly pray for is you.
I pray that Snoop pulls through this, man. I think that this thing is getting blown way out of proportion because what his grandson asked him. I also pray that we gotta find a wall and set this. Anyway, man, how y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? Uncle, I was trying to do some of the exercise. I'm starting to do some of them old man exercises, right? And it's funny because in my mind, I don't want to do them. I'm like, this is stupid, man. I don't want to do this. It's too easy to do. Okay, then what you want to do? I ain't doing nothing. Then so I do something. You get bored doing them. Then I've been like, God dang, I'm tired as I don't know what. Just like dancing right now, I'm tired. I get tired too fast, man. So I need Uncle Mike need to do something, man, because I got tired. I drove to the store, and I put like 6 cases of water in the car. Came back home, took 2 cases out. I went upstairs and went to bed. God dang. Anyway, man, Will Smith loses it after Snoop Dogg. Will Smith loses it with Snoop Dogg. With Snoop Dogg after calling out woke crowd as as his concern backlash worsens. Lord have mercy. Hey, I know y'all heard about this and everything, man. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out. Mike Zara.
Ever since Will Smith attempted to make a comeback with his music and of course his acting career, we know that there's a lot of fans of his own that are beginning to walk away, not just related to the fact of what happened back in 2022 at the Oscars when he slapped Chris Rock, but also given the fact that he's been going on multiple political rants as of late in 2025 and how it's just not sitting well with a lot of fans out there of Will Smith. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Will Smith right now is that we know that he's been going off the rails multiple times, and it's really not a good look for him. It's not a good look for his entire team or anybody else that's supporting him when it comes to his overall comeback with acting or music or whatever it may be, right? Now, one thing about this is that we already know that there's been a lot of things happening with Will Smith, whether it's for Men in Black 5 or when it involves the overall generated crowd criticism out there. There's been a lot of discussions about that. We'll have a lot more to talk about that as well down the road. But what's interesting here has a lot more to do with Will Smith and his connection with Snoop Dogg and exactly what happened between the two and how Jimmy Kimmel is actually in the mix. So one thing about all of this is that we already know that Will Smith is really trying to desperately salvage whatever's left of his acting career and really trying to make a comeback with his overall, concert and everything else, that happened a couple of days ago. We know that he's trying to make multiple musical comebacks and it's just not working out well for him. But one thing is for certain right now is that when it comes down to drama with other celebrities, that's not helping at all either. Let's discuss. Now, with the Will Smith backlash showing no signs of slowing down from his critics and now even his own fans who are walking away in droves, mind you, after his political comments and criticism about whether or not his crowd was generated, one major development going on now involves Will Smith's behavior towards Snoop Dogg after he came out calling out Disney and other studios utilizing DEI. It turns out that both Will Smith and Snoop Dogg were scheduled to appear on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show via ABC toward the end of September. Specifically, they were aiming for the 26th. It turns out that Snoop Dogg,
I'm sorry, y'all. He said they're using AI, but I'm trying to figure out which dog is AI and which one not. So if one of these dogs is AI, god dang, they're doing a real good job. I don't know. Oh hell, I don't know. But of course, I mean it's Hollywood, it's cartoons or whatever.
Towards Snoop Dogg.
Here we go, man.
After he came out calling out Disney and other studios utilizing DEI. It turns out that both Will Smith and Snoop Dogg were scheduled to appear on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show via ABC toward the end of September. Specifically, they were aiming for the 26th. It turns out that Snoop Dogg, after making his comments toward Disney and deciding to cancel his appearance for the Jimmy Kimmel Live show, and both Will and Snoop were going to film a pre-recorded bit that was going to be a comedy sketch, so to speak, for, of course, the last week of September. Now, after Snoop canceled his appearance, Will Smith reportedly made several remarks towards Snoop Dogg that what he did was a disgraceful act against Jimmy Kimmel, ABC, and even Disney, and not just for canceling his appearance, but also for of course, how Snoop Dogg called out Disney's shenanigans with doubling down on DEI for younger generations and younger audiences out there. This argument that took place between the two escalated to a point where Snoop Dogg actually aimed another reason, of course, as to why he didn't actually want to do the comedy sketch was because of Will Smith's inflammatory comments toward his audience and the criticism surrounding his crowd being, of course, computer generated. Now, Will Smith reportedly got very offended and snapped back at Snoop Dogg for acting like a coward, for actually claiming, of course, that their comedy sketch was all driven because of Will Smith's behavior, and how Will Smith actually went off the rails towards Snoop Dogg, of course, based on their comedy sketch for Jimmy Kimmel Live, that was reportedly going to be comedic rap presentations of some kind. Now, Will, of course, thoroughly believed that this sketch was going to be a great comeback for his comedy ever since the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and felt betrayed by Snoop Dogg when he actually decided to become distant from Disney and ABC, specifically for the 26th of this month. Now, to make matters even worse for Will Smith is that Snoop Dogg informed Will that he has no intention to reschedule their comedy sketch for another program and or for the Jimmy Kimmel Live show, and is outright canceling this bit altogether. Now guys, let me just say one thing about this. Now, this all comes after how Snoop Dogg made it very clear to the public and to everyone around the world that what he actually saw, what was going on with Disney and how they were shoehorning their DEI shenanigans to younger generations and inserting it into movies intended for younger generations and younger audiences out there, that really did not sit well at all with Snoop Dogg, and he made that very clear, not just with Disney, but of course with a lot of other studios that are actually doubling down on all that nonsense. And that was just one of the reasons as to why he bowed out of ABC from doing this comedy sketch with Will Smith. And Will Smith was very offended about that. He was very vocal about this toward Snoop Dogg behind the scenes on the set of filming this new comedy sketch that was going to take roughly around a week or two to really get it down all together well and done. But one thing is for certain about this is the fact that this is very similar to what happened between Sylvester Stallone and other celebrity, guests that did not want to work with Sylvester Stallone when he actually came out that he was supporting President Donald Trump. You guys may recall that Jimmy Kimmel actually did not want Sylvester Stallone on his show because how it would actually create a lot of internal struggles, if you will, with the guests that are actually against President Trump. And so there was a big tangle that actually went down in December of 2024. We talked about that as well. However, after Will, of course, called Snoop a coward behind the scenes at ABC Studios, both producers and executives of ABC are now scrambling to get new guests on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show to replace both Will and Snoop. Shockingly, Jimmy Kimmel grew frustrated with Snoop Dogg beforehand after he came forward about his disgust with Disney DEI policies. Their comedy bit was going to be around 6 minutes long, maybe 6 minutes in change, and Will was desperately, of course, attempting to create a viral moment with Snoop Dogg and felt deeply offended when Snoop made it vocally known to Will that he doesn't want to be affiliated with him right now for the time being. Will had a heated argument and a heated moment not just with Snoop but also with Snoop's team that was also with him at ABC, and Snoop Dogg is also considering canceling other appearances with other celebrity cameos or guest appearances as well. Now look, we know that Snoop Dogg, after he came out and said those things about Disney, said those things about studios doubling down on DEI for younger audiences out there, a lot of people are supporting and backing Snoop Dogg, and that's a good thing because look, nobody out there in their right mind that has common sense actually favors DEI over actual common sense or anything that just focuses on pure entertainment, right? And that's why a lot of studios failed from 2016 till now, is that they doubled down on things that nobody really honestly cared about. Whether it was race swapping or gender swapping or any of that nonsense that Disney did for so many years. Snoop Dogg called it all out. He called out all of the nonsense, and Will Smith really did not like that. And the fact that he called Snoop Dogg a coward behind the scenes because he was actually canceling his appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live and just saying no more to ABC, no more to Disney, at least for now, that really is very telling about exactly what's going on with the whole Hollywood situation, with the whole film industry right now that's just crumbling because you have a lot of celebrities that are now coming forward, a lot of performers and artists that are coming forward that, yeah, they're done with the DEI nonsense, they're done with any studios that actually do support that garbage, and they just don't want anything to do with it anymore. So overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Will Smith, about what your thoughts are about Snoop Dogg and his comments recently about Disney, about, of course, all these different studios doubling down on that. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.
That's crazy, man. I think that as concerns Backlash goes viral. Wow. Since this was a short video, we're gonna go ahead and do this one. We're gonna do two from Mike Zara. I don't think a parent or anybody should be going to a kid's movie needing to explain how can she got two mommies, how she have a baby, or whatever, however the thing went down. I really feel as though Snoop should have kept it separate from his business. You know, how did the media and social media and everybody know about what went down? He started talking to his other people about it. That's family. You should have just said what you had to say to your peoples, to your family, and let it be done. That's family. But sometimes, you know, and he should know this as a professional. When you go to work and when you work your job with your managers and everybody like that, you know, man, you can't, man, what you do this weekend, Snoop? Oh, I took my grandkids to the movies, and guess what, man? They showing some, you know good and well you are a public figure. You gotta do this a little better. But anyway, all right, let's see. Will Smith goes to war with Chris. Let's check this out real quick, man.
There is no doubt about it that back in 2022, when the Oscar slap situation took place of what Will Smith did against Chris Rock on live television in front of everybody, that he lost millions upon millions of fans in just one single night. And ever since then, he has been trying to make a comeback with his acting career, but not just his acting career, his music career, which was dormant for many, many years, and now he's trying to do that in 2025. You guys may recall that aside from the recent concert that took place where there was a lot of criticism about whether or not his crowd was generated, back a couple of months ago, right around February or March of this year, he dropped an album called the Based on a True Story album by Slang Records, and there were moments in there, lyrics in there, that took shots at Chris Rock. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and
they think the crowd, nah, that can't, that's Will Smith, man. You don't need no AI generated crowd. They thinking that at his concert, I guess nobody came to the concert, so he had to make an AI crowd. No, I don't think that. I definitely don't think that.
Like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, Will Smith is seemingly at it again of attacking and humiliating Chris Rock, and how that's all in the process right now as we speak, and how it does indeed involve Jada Pinkett Smith, Slang Records, and a second part to, of course, Based on a True Story. We'll talk more about this. Now, what's interesting about all of this is that we know that Chris Rock, for the most part, you know, has been really trying to stay away from the whole Will Smith drama, but now Will Smith is doubling down on all of this nonsense, and the fact that he is beginning to become a political, you know, talking point, you know, when it comes to displaying his overall criticism for, you know, the Trump administration and Trump supporters, MAGA, all of that, and how he drags it into his very own career. Something that nobody wants to actually listen to or hear about at all. You know, one thing if you're an actor, an actress, producer, writer, director, performer, whatever it may be, the last thing you want to do is drag politics at the forefront of your career, because then you're going to alienate more than half of your audience right off the bat. But this is where it really begins to go out of control. Now, with Will Smith already losing his temper after his own fans walked away after he made multiple political comments and attacked his own fans just recently, his crowd appeared to be generated, didn't help his case either, nor did the Oscar slap situation back in 2022. Now, one significant development going on now involves more to do with Will Smith and how he is already working on yet another album for 2026 that is already set to take shots again at Chris Rock, and it will double down on that and will serve as a second part of some kind to his Based on a True Story album by Slang Records. A crucial update to this entire story now involves how Jada Pinkett Smith is the one who encouraged Will Smith to openly humiliate and embarrass Chris Rock in his new album that will serve as a sequel to the album that dropped in March of this year. Slang Records already met up with Will and Jada, and how Chris Rock will be focused on even more so than the previous album that dropped a couple of lines, of course, that called out Chris Rock. Now, it's shocking here, however, that family members close to Will Smith reportedly and desperately urged him to not go through with attacking Chris Rock again in this new 2026 album that is set to be announced. Now, Will already informed Slang Records that he intends to release over 10 songs this time for this album specifically, and wants to address the Chris Rock slap situation and how it destroyed his acting career and how he holds Chris Rock responsible through the use of lyrics. Jada Pinkett Smith reportedly encouraged Will to go through with this as a coping mechanism to handle the downfall of his career and his attempt to make a comeback, not just in acting but also in music, and how Chris Rock will be a main focus on his 2026 album that he is actively putting together. Now, the album is also reportedly going to address social media criticism about his crowd was computer generated and the struggles of making a comeback in acting and music, and how Chris Rock's comedy destroyed his time in Hollywood. Now, both Slang Records and Will Smith, along with Jada Pinkett Smith, are all in active discussions right now on how this will be executed, essentially, since his most recent album was, of course, not well received with some of the songs. Now, Will also congratulated Jada Pinkett Smith, get this, in the most recent creative meeting with Slang Records for encouraging him to go through with openly calling out Chris Rock for how he turned Will Smith's life into a living nightmare. Something the majority of the public will surely find as immature and childish behavior coming from Will Smith himself. Now, guys, before we move on, let me just say one thing about this. Now, the fact that we know that a lot of people are already against Will Smith making a comeback with his music career, and also how he's beginning to snap back with politics and how that's not working out well for him in the long run. We also know that the fact that he is creating a second part to Based on a True Story album, and how it's going to take even more shots at Chris Rock, and how it's going to double down on that, and how it's all being, of course, orchestrated essentially by Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't know how worse things can get from this point forward. I really don't. Because this is really hitting rock bottom. Heck, it's hitting below rock bottom. It is hitting bedrock at this point. That's how bad it is. But we know one thing about Will, alright, is that he's beginning to realize that there are so many people out there that are rejecting his movies, that are outright rejecting his music, and now he's stooping this low to creating a second part of an album that really wasn't all that well received in different areas. And look, we know that him talking about the whole Chris Rock slap situation low-key, that also was a major, critical part in the album, and how he's going to actually make it at the forefront for the second part. It just goes to show you that he really can't let go of things when it comes to the whole Chris Rock drama. Now, moving onwards, alright? Now, Slang Records is reportedly ecstatic to call out Chris Rock, as they believe any kind of press, whether it's negative or positive, will bring in attention to Will's planned 2026 album that he plans to drop by the summer or fall of next year. Even Jada Pinkett is reportedly in talks, get this, to make a musical entry by providing a short number of lyrics, calling out Chris Rock alongside Will Smith in one of the songs. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it's one thing for Will to do this, it's another thing for Jada Pinkett to actually become a voice in this album, in one of the songs. Now, I'm sure it's going to be very short-lived, I'm sure it's going to be like a 30-second thing or something like that, but she is going to make some kind of an involvement in this album, in one of the actual songs, and they do plan to make this a very lengthy album in comparison to the previous one, and I think it's not going to work out well for them. I think in the long run, it's only going to make things worse, especially after what happened behind the scenes between himself and Snoop Dogg. We talked about that just yesterday, about all the drama that took place for Jimmy Kimmel Live. But what's interesting here is that both Will and Jada, along with Slang Records, are partnering up to get back at Chris Rock in 2026, and it will most likely not work well with the public. Again, Will doesn't really seem to fully believe in the fact that what he did was a so-called mistake, right? That's just him playing the victim. Whenever he talks back to his critics or the fans that walked away and said, yeah, what I did back in 2022 was a mistake, obviously he doesn't actually mean that, because now he's actually all set and ready to go to call out Chris Rock, to blame him for why his career is shattered, and how that's going to be used in the form of an album. And how Jada Pinkett is all behind this, right? She's like the puppeteer pulling the strings on Will Smith as a puppet, and really pretty much just orchestrating the entire thing. Now, one thing is for certain is that this is going to create more backlash in 2026. It's still a ways off, but you're going to see another wave of backlash for Will Smith, that's for certain. Overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments. Anything ranging from Jada to Chris Rock to Will Smith. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.
Man, for real, Will Smith was ready to get a Grammy or win some type of award for a rapper. Will Smith started off as a rapper that made a nice song and had some money, and then he lost all the money. He learned from his mistake, and then he came out with a #1 hit that's still hitting every summer. I said this is when I was learning how to actually know what a hit song was. I said, this song is going to be a hit every summer for the rest of rap hip-hop history. Summertime. That song brought him all the way back on top of the map. He could have made his own map, and the map is still being made as we speak. Summertime. Next thing you know, he started doing acting. He had his own sitcom out. Then he started acting in movies. Hit after hit after hit after hit movie. Men in Black, all this stuff. He could write his own ticket. He said something on a social media that life gets kind of boring when you can just buy anything that you want. You can buy the whole company. Like any car that you want, I can buy 10 of the cars and the whole company. Good God Almighty, boy. Then you get up there and show God that you don't appreciate it. Basically, that's what he did. How dare you put your hands on that little boy? How dare you do that? I bet you any amount of money, if The Rock or Hulk Hogan or anybody else was up there, or somebody with some real thugness in him, he wouldn't have walked up there and did that. Chris Rock mentioned that too. He played Pookie. He played Pookie, yeah. He played Pookie in New Jack City. Scrawny little skinny dude. Chris Rock even mentioned that he was bullied in school. And he's still getting bullied. He done made it successfully, and he's still getting bullied. Will Smith played roles like Muhammad Ali. Working out, exercising, and come on, man. You did that because you knew you can whoop that boy. I lost all respect for Will after that, period. So now I'm fighting with myself, because you need to, everybody's human and somebody will make a mistake. So you need to actually forgive people. But now I know why I don't forgive him, because he still mess with this thing, man. Sometimes you gotta let go and let God, man. Hey, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.